Yo, what is up? Big day today. I am heading back to Supreme Digital to check out these large prints. If you guys saw my last video, you might remember me showing you guys these massive prints that I got done. And today's a big day because they finally got them framed. So I am heading over to Supreme Digital right now to check out the final result. It'll be two pieces, specifically Lazy Sunday and 16-bit Sunset. I've had these pieces done for a little while now. And I still have a couple more to print. One, which you might be able to see today, is Nomad. So yeah, really excited. They sent me a couple emails talking about how good they look and how striking they are in frame. So the plan is to check out the final result, and then I'll go pick them up tomorrow in the truck, bring them into storage so that when it's time to get this exhibit up, they'll be ready and waiting. So yeah, let's go check these out. First one. Wow. That is looking so cool, man. Really, really cool. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yeah, man, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're really striking. They're really cool.
Wow. Yeah, man. It's so interesting because, you know, you can always imagine what it might look once it's all framed up and ready to go, but once you finally see it,
yeah, it
almost doesn't really compare to the imagination. Like, the real thing is always much cooler.
Yeah, yeah, nice, good. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's so good. All right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Jeez. Yeah, that looks cool, man. All right.
You know, these, they're big, and then all that dark pigment is like, I have to be like really when I work on this job, because it just needs, I need to be really focused. You know?
I mean, yeah, I can imagine because of how, especially the print, how you were telling me how particular it is.
Yeah.
Even after it's dried, it's never really set, right? Like,
yeah.
You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's because of the paper, right, that we chose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a cleat. So this,
okay.
I'll give you a piece of wood that you put into the wall, but this is a French cleat, and it's like really nice and flush with the edge.
All right, so what'd you guys think of that? Yeah, that was quite surreal to see in person. It's been a long time coming, getting these prints done. Yeah, man, got two more to go. Nomad, like I said before, and one more yet to be titled, but I've already started the sketching for that one, so maybe I'll let you guys in on the process of making that one. That might be a cool little series to show how these sort of large pieces get developed, at least from a digital side. But yeah, until then, I'll touch base with you guys in the office later. All right, if you guys recalled yesterday, I decided to take you in on a little journey with me back to Supreme Digital to show you guys some prints that I finally got framed, which is really exciting and surreal for me. I keep saying that, but it really, really is. It was just wild to finally see that this was kind of months in the making, getting to that point of having them framed and ready for this eventual exhibition that I'm working on. And yeah, I thought after seeing that yesterday, it might be worth doing like a little YouTube video for you guys, kind of talking about the genesis of this project a little bit. I won't go through all the nitty details in terms of the lore and the history and all that. That might be another video for another time. But I figured I'd at least show you guys the larger body of work, at least a hint of it. Walk you through some of the pieces that I got printed, that will get printed, and also even talking a bit more about the eventual book that I'm trying to get done as well. All this is, being funded out of my own pocket, self-published, if you will. So it's been really a labor of love and hurting my wallet at the same time. But this is something that I really want to bring into reality. And if you build it, they will come, right? So we'll see what will come from all this early investment on my part. But yeah, without further ado, I have this file open here. Bear with me, I'm kind of new to this OBS stuff. I'm new to a lot of this, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully this is working out. So yeah, so this is the wider project that this sort of exhibition is stemming from, at least a portion of it. If I zoom in, you guys can recall these two images here. You have 16-bit Sunset, which is a personal favorite of mine for sure. Me being a gamer, I just felt like it was kind of cool to create a piece that was a bit of an homage to that. And another piece that you guys may be familiar with as well is Lazy Sunday. I featured this a lot on my Instagram as well. Really proud of how this one turned out. This was sort of the first piece that sparked this idea of creating this exhibition. Especially printing something so large, I felt like the details, I wanted them to be really appreciated. And admittedly, it's not that detailed, if I'm being honest. I mean, there's definitely elements of it that are quite simple at almost any scale. But I got my inspiration printing these things large because I wanted to get that sort of trompe-l'oeil effect where you're almost painting something life-size and you're looking into an aperture, looking into a window. And that's where the idea of kind of printing these really large came from. I wanted, even though it is digital, to have a similar impact to what you get to those traditional paintings that you would see in a museum, for example. So the pieces are a little over 5 feet by 4 feet, slightly irregular in size, but the final result, as you guys saw from yesterday's video, was pretty impressive, I have to say. So yeah, so to kind of zoom out a little bit on the wider project, there's quite a few characters that I built up. It started with these 4. I kind of call them the Dangerous Quartet: Click, Raider, Dust, and Igor. And it really started out as, if it's not clear already, it really started out as this sort of personal, extensive character design project. This was during COVID that I decided to kind of expand on my illustrative yearning to sort of draw more human figures. Primarily, I'm trained as, or self-taught, I guess, as just an illustrator, so doing one-off pieces, never really having to revisit or go back to characters that I conjure up or develop for my clients or for myself. And I thought it was a nice opportunity to sort of push myself a bit more and try something different outside of the line of work that I usually do. And this has actually, doing this body of work has actually led to more client work that I would have never been able to have had I not been eager enough to take on this challenge and put it out on my portfolio and put it out on social media. One project in particular that comes to mind is a project that I did for Tiger Crystal, which is really, really cool. That project was really like a 360 experience for me, just in terms of making something that encompassed, you know, part character design, part storyboarding, part style framing, part illustration, all kind of rolled into one. And it was a really, really cool, fun learning experience for me. And then to finally see it come to life through animation, which, you know, truth be told, I don't see myself as an animator. I have no intentions of necessarily learning how to animate in that style per se. But I have an amazing appreciation for the craft, and it definitely informs how I develop these characters, because I do see them in some way, shape, or form coming to life through animation. I've done hints of that in other projects of mine, collaborating with animators out in the UK, which has been really fun for me to see and develop, and I'm hoping that this will be the genesis of something much, much larger, creating this book. So yeah, so right now the book is roughly, I want to say about 60 or so pages. As you can tell, there's about 12, I think there's 12 characters. Let me see, let's count. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 different characters. And each of them have, you know, their own personas. I've written bios for each of these characters, kind of world building, if you will, right? And, you know, trying to create something that is an ode to, you know, not just obviously Japanese animation, manga, you know, a bit of science fiction, you know, a bit of Afrofuturism, but also an ode to my culture and where I'm from, or where my family's from, and where my wife is from, you know, the island of Hispaniola, which encompasses the Dominican Republic and Haiti. There was something quite interesting about looking at the histories of those countries, the tensions, the turmoils, the rare successes, and seeing how that can generate a story that, you know, that is Afrofuturistic in nature, but placed in a context that you usually don't quite see in a lot of examples of pop culture, of, you know, media, of film, of animation even, you know, which is basically the Caribbean context. You know, you could probably count with just like a handful of examples maybe that I can't really think of off the top of my head, that has a Caribbean context as a part of the world lore. There's certainly projects in the works now that I'm aware of that are finally tapping into that space more seriously, which is really exciting to see. And I'm hoping to be a part of that conversation eventually as well in the near future. Yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it, really. I think the next step for me in this project is, besides getting Nomad framed and printed and framed, which is the very next piece, there's a fourth piece that I'm working on, which I won't say too much about, other than that it's tied to the Igor character, which would be really, really cool to develop. I might do a little live stream of developing that piece, but I've already have a base sketch which I've started to construct this sort of dramatic 2-point, 3-point perspective, and it needs some refinement. You know, what's nice about this project is because it is personal, I don't have like necessarily a deadline to meet, so I can kind of take time in making sure these processes sort of gestate properly, walking away from the sketch without having to rush through it, and making sure that the decisions that I'm making throughout the process feel right. That's probably one of the benefits of doing personal work versus client work, is with client work, you know, there's always a deadline. It's usually a mad dash to finish, and you're not always given an opportunity to basically reconsider your choices, especially with a deadline that's fast approaching. You know, you get client feedback, and you get you know, opportunities to refine a little bit, but that's sort of, I'm talking about like that sort of long gestation of like maybe like a month, 2 months, 3 months of letting a piece kind of sit and ferment a little bit and seeing if it actually works, is something that I really take huge pride in. Now, especially working digital, there's always an opportunity to kind of go back and refine a bit, right? Which is kind of a blessing and a curse. So there's a couple of more pieces to refine here a little bit, but the book is pretty much done. I kind of see it as something that, will be a first edition of many, and I'm hoping that the response will be good. It'll have a decent amount of reach, and it'll inspire me to re-release additional editions of it, with new work, with new sketches, with new concepts. I already have ideas of creating a much larger collection of work that could be a part of the wider sort of Burizu saga. I kind of forgot to mention this in the beginning. This whole project, the umbrella project, is called Burizu, and it's kind of a play on my name. When you try to pronounce Burizu within the Japanese language phonetically, so that's where the whole idea comes from. In terms of the alias, in terms of the project name, and in terms of the sort of Japanese kanji text that you kind of see selectively within my work, I kind of appropriate that in different pieces, and that's basically what that means. It's basically an interpretation of my name within the Japanese language, because it's a very clear homage to the Japanese aesthetic, the shape language, but stylized in a way that I feel is a bit more ownable to me. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's a pretty short video, I think. I just wanted to let you guys in on that process a bit more, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this segment. I'm not sure what this video will be called. I feel like the vlogs are its own entity, it's its own thing. It's kind of like a day-to-day sort of seeing what I'm doing within the studio, more or less. And I feel like this video is so project focused. I think there's definitely value in doing something like this. So I may make this an additional series that kind of operates in between the vlogs. We'll see. Still kind of keeping it lo-fi, pretty off the cuff, not really scripted, just kind of openly talking to you guys about what I'm up to. And we'll see what the next chapter holds. But until then, I'll see you guys later.